welcome to this week's video. I'm going to be teaching you about how to sing and play upbeat music. So for many years I was able to play slow ballads, but I really struggled with kind of getting any groove in my piano playing. And especially when you're learning to sing at the same time, it can be really tricky. So I'm going to share with you tips on how you can increase groove in your piano playing. And it actually starts first of all with the left hand. I'm going to be looking at the song called With a Little Help from My Friend from Ultimate Guitar. You can go into Ultimate Guitar and find it. I've got it in the key of C, so you want to be making sure that C is in verse 1. The next thing I want you to do, especially if you're a beginner player, is that we're just going to clap and sing. So this is the first step. What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Okay, great. So that's nice and easy. We're then going to be playing the C all the way through. So, what would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Nice and simple, yeah? We're now going to add, we're going to double it up. So we're going to go C, C. Then we're going to go to the G, G, G. And then we're going to go D minor. Or not even D minor, we're just going to go the D, D. Okay, so it's going to sound like this. What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Okay, so that should be pretty easy, but you want to always introduce the singing and the piano at the same time, because if you just focus on the piano and not the singing, it will not be easy when you bring the two together. So you're better off starting off really slow, starting with, what would you? And then we're going to bring in the little finger in this G. Think if I. Then we're going to take that little finger and go all the way down to the D. Sang out of tune. And we're going to double that up. Would you stand up and walk out on me? So imagine a double bass player doing like a walking bass. That's ultimately what we're doing. So hopefully you've got that. You can always slow the clog down on the bottom right hand corner to make you super slow if you're struggling with that. Now, this is when the groove comes into place. We're going to get a shaker. This is my secret weapon, because we want to feel the groove in our body, and the shaker really helps us to do that. So again, we're going to go back to the beginning. We're just going to get the shaker and we're going to sing. So, what would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Great. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to add that C like we did before. What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Okay, so we're starting to get a little bit of groove coming in, yeah? Once we've done that, and it is tricky, guys, just letting you know, but once you've got that, you've got the left hand, you've got the right hand doing the shaker, and you're singing, we're then going to add that double in. So it's going to sound like this. What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Now, did you notice I actually didn't do up on the C? I just played the same note twice. So you could even do this. If you're struggling with those octaves, if you're struggling with that, you could literally just play the C twice. So it would sound like this. What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Great. Okay. So once we've got that, we're going to take the shaker away now, and we're going to start to introduce a few additional notes. And I want you to play around with it. So it might be like this. What would you think if I... So instead of doing the G, you might do the C to C, G to D. So it goes like this. What would you think think if I sang out of tune? Something along those lines. You can mess around with it. But the idea is we're going to try and keep that groove of 1, 2, 3, 4. What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out of me? Now, I'm kind of playing random notes. When I play random notes, I'm playing the C, the G, or the D minor. But I'm playing that rhythm. So let's try it with a shaker. What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out of me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Great. So now we've got random notes in the left hand. When I say random, C, G, D minor with your voice, and you've got that shaker. Now we're going to start to get a little bit groovy. Okay, so we're going to play the shaker and we're going to just see what feels right adding those additional notes. And we're going to kind of play around with it, around the C, D, D. And you might want to add some extra notes as well, depending on if you know chords. So you might want to play like the C and then to the G, to the D minor, something along those lines. So you're kind of improvising around the chords. Now this is much more for advanced people, but it might go like this. What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out of me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, okay. And I'm adding some additional notes like, so can you hear that? That gives a little bit more groove. What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Again, I'm playing around with it. There's no right or wrong. But what the shaker does is it kind of gives you that rhythm so that you kind of get a nice sense of that rhythm. Because before, without the shaker, this is what I would be playing like. What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? There's no groove in that at all. So that's why when you add the shaker, it kind of adds that additional rhythm. Now, finally, if you want to bring the right hand in, I would just start with something simple like the C all over. What would you think if you sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? So bum ba-dum 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 ba-dum. Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song. I'll try not to sing out of key. So you can kind of do bum. So it's like on the offbeat. Let's just do one more thing. We're going to add the chords with that. What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out of me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, so it's like on the syncopated, so dum ba dum ba dum ba dum, and then once you've got past that, you can kind of just play around a little bit. Maybe you're a little bit more advanced, and you might be improvising with the left hand and kind of improvising with the right hand, and it might sound something like this. What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Whoa! So all I'm doing with the right hand is I've kind of got that offbeat rhythm with a few extra notes, and I'm also using inversions. So I hope that has helped, guys, with your rhythm playing. But if anything, I would strongly advise you play the shaker with your left hand. And often I will do gigs where I'm literally just playing with my left hand and a shaker, and it sounds really, really good. So if you've enjoyed this lesson, I have a free PDF guide teaching how to sing, play and songwrite, even if you're just a beginner. Just click on the link below and it will send it directly to your inbox. And also, if you've enjoyed this, please subscribe. See you next week.